Good evening. It's Saturday, the 12th of July. You're tuned in to our 10 p.m. newscast coming to you from ARIRANG's news centre in Seoul. I'm Mark Broom. Our top story tonight. The United States has expressed its full support for Japan's recent decision to revise the country's pacifist constitution to allow its military a more expanded role. US Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel hailed the Abe administration's move as a landmark decision that will contribute to global security. Connie Lee reports.
Japanese Defense Minister Itsunori Onodera received a warm welcome in Washington on Friday from U.S. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel. The two defense chiefs were meeting at the Pentagon to reinforce their alliance. At a press conference after their talks, Hagel praised Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe's decision to revise the country's constitution so Japan's military can come to the aid of an ally under attack and do more than just self-defense.
This bold, historic landmark decision will enable Japan to significantly increase its contribution to regional and global security and expand its role on the world stage. Our government strongly supports the decision made by Prime Minister Abe and his cabinet.
However, needing more time to prepare, the bills related to the collective defense legislation are now set to be processed next year instead of this fall as originally planned, according to Japan's chief cabinet secretary. In the meantime, Hagel and Onodera said they are working on revising the U.S.-Japan defense relationship made back in 1997. The Abe administration's decision to revise Japan's decades-old pacifist constitution is not only opposed by many within Japan, it's also been slammed by Korea and China, who say the power could be misused. Both countries suffered under Japanese imperial rule during World War II and are currently locked in territorial disputes with Tokyo. Speaking separately at a seminar in Washington, Onodera expressed interest in meeting with his South Korean counterpart at any time, but mainly to discuss the threats posed by North Korea. Connie Lee, ARIRANG News.
Now, a powerful 6.8 magnitude earthquake struck off Japan's northern coast earlier on this Saturday, near the nuclear power plant crippled in the 2011 earthquake and tsunami. But this time, though, a major crisis seems to have been avoided. The Japan Meteorological Agency issued tsunami advisories along the coast of Fukushima Prefecture soon after the quake, but lifted them about 2 hours later. You can see on the video here the quake shaking buildings and that shopping mall there. No serious damage has been reported, and according to Japan's power company TEPCO, there have been no reports of abnormalities at the Fukushima nuclear plant. Fukushima Prefecture was absolutely devastated, as we all know, back in March 2011 after a massive 8.9 magnitude quake, and the subsequent tsunami caused 3 nuclear reactors to melt down. North Korea has slammed a port visit by a US nuclear-powered aircraft carrier to the south, calling it a reckless provocation. A spokesman for North Korea's National Defense Commission said the arrival of the USS George Washington in the southern port of Busan this on Friday for joint military exercises starting next week was in defiance of proposals by Pyongyang to try and ease into Korean tensions. In reference to the upcoming drills, the spokesman added that whenever North-South relations seem to be improving, the US resorts to, quote, sinister interference. The George Washington will take part in joint exercises with the South Korean Navy from July 16th through the 21st as part of annual military drills. The United States is continuing to closely monitor possible cooperation between North Korea, Iran and Syria regarding weapons of mass destruction. Speaking with Voice of America on Saturday, US Assistant Secretary for International Security and Non-Proliferation, Thomas Countryman, said Washington is aware that North Korea is a principal strategic partner of the Iranian and Syrian regimes in terms of ballistic missile and nuclear technology. The official added the US has enjoyed a great amount of success in blocking the proliferation of North Korean arms, but there are still concerns regarding the issue, although he gave no details on what sort of movements the US has observed. Back here in South Korea, and the southern port city of Busan has exactly 100 days to go before it hosts one of the world's biggest conferences on information and communication technologies. The 3-week-long conference will bring together officials and experts from around the world to decide on major technological standards. Our Yulian reports on how preparations are going.
In just 100 days, here in the nation's biggest port city of Busan, Korea will seek to move on from a fast follower to a first mover in the information and communication sector at the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference, a conference that decides on future ICT policy directions. Officials from the Ministry of Science, ICT and Future Planning, the Busan City government, as well as the organization committee of the ITU Plenipotentiary Conference came together Saturday to attend a ceremony, hoping for a successful hosting of the international event.
And this is a great opportunity to show them how ICT is utilized in Korea and how our companies are doing and what kind of services would be available for the world community.
Hopes are high for Korea, as it's the second country in Asia after Japan to host the international event. The organizers here say they will aim to give off a strong impression that Korea is indeed an IT powerhouse by providing visitors 10 gigabytes of Wi-Fi service at the venue and through trial runs of 5G wireless technology. The Ministry of Science, ICT and Future Planning says it's pouring all its efforts into bolstering safety systems at the venue by working with the Geneva-based ITU headquarters, the local government, as well as the police agency. The conference will take place from October 20th through November 7th. Yurian, ARIRANG News, Busan.
The United States will levy punitive tariffs on Korean steel pipe imports after it determined that the pipes were being sold for less than the cost of producing them. The U.S. Commerce Department on Friday said that Korean steel pipe exporters will be required to pay duties ranging from 9.89% to 15.75%. The department's decision reverses one of the most contentious trade disputes in the US in years. Back in February, the Commerce Department found all countries but Korea had sold imports below cost, excusing the country Korea from duties. The Korean government and industry representatives here say they'll file an appeal about this decision with the World Trade Organization. Korea exported steel pipes worth some $830 million to the US in 2012. Now, in international news, more than 120 people have been killed in Gaza after days of Israeli airstrikes on Palestinian targets inside the territory. Militants have been launching their own rocket attacks on Israel, and despite intensifying international pressure to negotiate a ceasefire, the fighting continues to rage on. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his country will resist foreign pressure to halt its operations and is actually exploring its military options now. The US has affirmed Israel's right to defend itself, but has expressed concern about the risk of further escalation. The UN estimates that 3/4 of the 120 people killed in Gaza so far have been civilians. Now, with the arrival of summer here in Korea and the rest of the Northern Hemisphere as well, it's crucial to know which sunscreen is right for you. But with the vast array of choices out there, it can be extremely difficult to work out which one is best. Well, our Sun Jong-in has a few tips on how to choose the right product for you and how to use it correctly.
38-year-old Lee Hae-young has become more and more concerned about the aging of her skin as the rays of the summer sun intensify. She is now more attentive when choosing sunscreen products.
I can feel that my skin has been damaged from the strong rays of the sun, and I've noticed that I have a darker complexion now and bigger pores.
To protect yourself, it is important to know which sunscreen will bring the best results. But first, you should know there are two general types of sunscreens, physical and chemical ones. Physical sunscreens protect your skin by blocking or reflecting the sun's rays like mirrors that sit on the skin. It is relatively safe since it is not absorbed by the skin and is often recommended for people with sensitive skin. But the minerals are thick and opaque, sometimes leaving a white residue on the skin. Chemical sunscreens, on the other hand, work by absorbing ultraviolet rays. They turn this energy into a less dangerous form of radiation that causes less damage to skin. Chemical sunscreens are easily applied, but can also bring about various allergic reactions because of the chemicals used to make them.
About 50% of the people who do not use sunscreen avoid it because it irritates their eyes or because of its strong scent.
Removing sunscreen from the body is as important as applying it. If it is not fully removed, the residue mixed with dust from the air can remain on your skin and clog the pores, which can cause an itchy, blistering skin rash. Experts recommend a double cleansing to ensure your skin is completely clean by first washing with an oil-based cleanser and then using a water-based one. 손정인, 아리랑 뉴스.
And finally, taking a look at your weekend weather. Most of the country is under cloudy skies tonight. It will be another warm night with the overnight low only dipping down to 21 degrees Celsius in Seoul. You might need your sunscreen tomorrow because it will be a hot day under partly cloudy skies with highs in the low 30s nationwide. Let's take a look at the weather conditions wherever you are in the world. And those are the stories we have for you at this hour. For more of the latest stories, don't forget to check out our website, arirang.co.kr/news. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Goodbye.